Most people who know me know my stance on Kase-san. I think it's the best piece of yuri media to exist. However, I never really go into depth as to why I feel this way. Well, wait with bated breath no more, my friends. Today we're going to talk about Kase-san and why it's a 10 out of 10. Better than Citrus, better than Strawberry Panic, better than Bloom Into You, and Girlfriends combined. When I think of yuri media, and that includes manga and anime, almost all the IPs I think of fit into one of two categories. Shows either rot with unnecessary sexual content that has very little to do with the story and exists purely to draw in fappers, or the show is so quote-unquote innocent and devoid of sexual content that it is unrealistic. Both categories come with some annoying cliches that lower the quality of the show overall. The great thing about Kase-san is that it fits into neither of these categories and thus does not suffer from the baggage that comes with them. Kase-san is a tale of two girls in high school coming to realize that they like each other. Sounds lame, right? This is a story that's been told so many times, but never this well until now. See, all those shows attempt to throw something spicy in to make the pure concept more interesting. Maybe one girl doesn't really like the other, but actually does and doesn't know it, so it's a back and forth thing. Maybe they go to a restrictive all-girls school and the art style sucks. Maybe they're stepsisters and one is a rapist. I don't know about other people, but I don't think stories need to be new to be good. I just think they need to be well done. While Bloom Into You and Girlfriends are pretty decent IPs all around, they both have massive flaws that overall lower the quality of the story. Strawberry Panic and Citrus both suck though. Fuck those. Kase-san, despite being a regular love story, is well aware of its simplicity, and because of it, the mangaka is able to embrace more detail and characterization without worrying about going out of his way to try to make the story overly interesting. That's because a love story in itself is already interesting, but many creators don't seem to realize that, so we end up with overcomplicated, pointless, erotica-filled yuri bait for many of our plots. But not Kase-san. And although the plot isn't complicated, it's not exactly predictable either. There are several things that happen that I certainly didn't see coming, so even though I knew this wasn't a groundbreaking story, it still kept me interested the whole time. And another huge reason the story is so great is because the characters are equally as great. Yamada, although first introduced as an airhead gardening lover, we learn to actually be quite intelligent and passionate, but also full of self-doubt. And even though she does doubt herself due to her low self-esteem, she is extremely brave in pushing herself to do the things she feels strongly about. Kase-san, although first characterized as the class favorite athlete chick magnet, we learn she's not only deserving of her limelight because of the amount of time, energy, and passion she puts into her future, but that she's constantly plagued by self-doubt as well. She's headstrong, but as soon as she makes quick decisions, she often worries about it, showing us that although she appears confident, she's really quite unsure of herself and her choices. That is except for her love of Yamada, who she is most worried about accidentally hurting or pushing away. Their love feels tangible because they both fell in love with each other not only for the mask they put on, but because they saw glimpses of their true selves when they were with each other. Their first face-to-face interaction shows these quick glimpses. Yamada passionately pulling weeds because she loves gardening so much, and Kase-san's kindness and desire to help others. And from their first interaction, their relationship begins to grow immediately. That's another thing about so many yuris or just romances in general. The entire show was just the two main characters getting together, and then it ends just like that. But not Kase-san. The two main characters get together by the end of volume 1, so instead of seeing pussyfooted back and forth bullshit for 12 episodes or 4 volumes, we get to watch Kase-san and Yamada's relationship grow the entire time. So there's no fluff, something I praise any show for doing. Some people might say that the whole series is just fluff, but I wholeheartedly disagree. If we're learning new things about the characters or their relationships are changing in some way, then I don't consider it fluff. And while I'm talking about this, the pacing is pretty fucking great. Never once was I bored with what I was watching or reading because the story never stops or takes unnecessary turns for a gratuitous makeout or shitty sex scene. Oh wait, Sam, you say, if there aren't any fleshy, pointless, heavy petting scenes, then wouldn't this show fall under category 2? Pure yuri? No siree, Bob, because unlike those shows where sex is a fucking fantasy, Kase-san and Yamada are both aware of sex and their sexual attraction to each other. Kase-san is more educated in that regard, but Yamada figures it out pretty quickly, and although they aren't ignorant to sex, they aren't pressuring each other into it. They both realize that even though sex is something people do when dating, they don't need to do it yet, and even though they are attracted to each other in that way. So unlike Bloom Into You and other pure yuris where sex is just a magical thing that never happens despite heavy makeout sessions, to these two, sex is very much a thing, and for a time it does occupy their minds. They just both acknowledge that they don't think they're ready yet. And holy fuck, that's like groundbreaking in this genre with either too much sex, fake sex, or zero sex in the universe. To be fair, after experiencing Citrus, I think any sort of characterization and talking about feelings or sex is just, phenomenally realistic, let's be real guys. No, Kase-san's just that good to be honest. Would you get two great, well-written main characters to star in your romance, the plot should write itself and then the dialogue follows suit, and the mangaka does this exceptionally. I've read all the released in English volumes 4 times and watched the OVA twice, and I plan on doing it again, because when I look for a love story, I look for something that feels natural between two well-developed characters, and that is exactly what the story of Kase-san and Yamada is. Genuinely sat down and reread the books to try to find something I wasn't a fan of, and I couldn't find anything. Love the art, I love the writing, I love the creativity, just everything. And for the OVA, my only critique is that the OVA starts somewhere in the middle of volume 2, I think, instead of just starting at the beginning for some reason. Even then, they made sure to keep everyone in the loop by explaining the current state of their relationship. Other than that, the animation is great and perfectly replicates the mangaka's art style, and the music is surprisingly exceptional. It's basically just the exact pacing of the manga, so there are no faults there. I don't know what to do, guys. I found peak yuri perfection. I'm not sure what to do next, what to read next, what to watch next. Got any good yuri recommendations for me? I mean, if you can name one I haven't heard of or already read, I'll give you a gold star. And hey, maybe it'll be better than Kase-san. But until then, press X to doubt, Kase-san sits at my #1 yuri spot with a 10 out of 10 rating. And hey, my name is StarlightSam.